Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Angel Storm. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am doing a video on a topic that I was asked, a question that I was asked on Quora, and the person had written to me and asked me, what are some lessons I can learn from being the target of a narcissist? And I did a video similar to this topic already on my channel, and it's called like lessons that I learned from the narcissist or something like that. And so you can go back and watch that video. I think the link is in the description of this video if you're interested in seeing that. But I did want to go over this question again because there's so many things I think that that people overlook during their healing process, and then moving forward from there forward in their life, that could be very useful to them, that could be things that they incorporate into their life. So first of all, something that you should learn about being a target of the narcissist is, number one, just being aware that there are narcissists out there. You know, I did a video a few weeks ago or a couple months ago now, I can't remember exactly, on this channel, where I talked about why people don't leave narcissistic relationships or abusive relationships in general. So whether this is a friendship or a job that you're at, or whatever the situation is, why you don't leave that situation. For most people, they don't want to actually admit that this person is evil, that they're doing harmful things to you. You don't want to view your husband, boss, mom, dad, sibling, best friend, whatever, in such a light. You don't want to say, hey, I'm actually married to an abuser. And when we take it step by step and look at it in that way, it's easier to deconstruct the very big mountain that you think is in front of you in terms of leaving the narcissist. So, for example, if you're in a marriage where it's an abusive situation, that can be overwhelming because, first of all, you have to admit that you're in such an abusive relationship. If you have children, you have to think about that. If you have assets, you know, how is this going to go? The narcissist is going to use the court system to abuse me. What are my family and friends going to think? All of these thoughts become this huge mountain that make it seem like the only option is for you to stay. And when you approach your thoughts as single thoughts, so one by one, it makes it easier to deconstruct that huge mountain that's in front of you. Same thing no matter what situation you're facing. If you're in a job where you're working for a narcissist or you're working with narcissists, and it seems like that situation will never change, and there's nothing that you can do about it because you can't find a different job, or you can't do this or that, you can't do that, you start thinking about all of the things that are preventing you from leaving, all the reasons that you have to stay in that environment. And as opposed to just approaching each thought as an individual thought and dealing with that thought one by one. So number one, I hope that you recognize that there are narcissists out there, that there are people who are toxic to you, whether they're narcissists or not, that you do need to have boundaries, which I'm going to get into in just a little bit. That's going to be another a part of something else I want to talk to you about, another lesson, that you do need to have boundaries, that you do need to be sure of who you are. Another thing that you should learn from being the victim of a narcissist's target, whether you're actually a victim of the narcissist or you're just a target of the narcissist, meaning they couldn't actually make you a supply. Maybe by now you have learned the lessons, you've gotten better at implementing your boundaries and speaking up for yourself and doing all of the things that are necessary in order to prevent yourself from being abused again. That's great. So being a supply is one thing, but being a target is another thing. You can still be the target of narcissistic abuse even if you don't become the supply. So that you can't do anything about. You can't do anything about if your path crosses with a narcissist. That's out of your control. How long that path stays crossed is in your control, and how much access the narcissist gets to you during that amount of time that your paths are crossing is also in your control. So just because you're a target doesn't mean that you have to be a supply. And part of that requires you to know yourself. Hopefully this process has taught you things that you simply won't tolerate anymore. Hopefully this process has given you insight into what the red flags look like, what your gut instinct had been telling you that maybe you ignored, what outside people, your family and friends, when you first got involved with the narcissist or whatever, had been aware of that you couldn't see at that time. I hope that you have learned more about yourself during the recovery process, and that you have found out how strong you are, that you can actually overcome any obstacle that comes your way, and that you can rebuild, and not only rebuild the same amount, the same type of life that you had before, but you can actually rebuild it better. And the final thing, and the most important thing that I want to talk about in this video, that I hope you've learned, or that being a target or being a supply of a narcissist has taught you, is that the same reasons that the narcissist targeted you, so the same things that the narcissist abused or twisted around to abuse you, are still your strengths. So let's say you're just a very generous person, or you're a super empath, right? Which most of my clients are. Most of my clients are INFJs. So let's say that's the situation, right? You're a super empath. You're very generous. You're very trusting of people. You want to see the good in people. All of those things that the narcissist targeted you for are actually your strengths. They're what make you, as an individual, such a unique and strong person. The thing that I want to talk about now with boundaries is that even very good things, even things that we love, without boundaries, can be toxic, can be used as weapons against us. So being an empath is a gift, and I've talked about that many times on this channel. Being a generous person is a really amazing and great trait, especially in a world full of people who are super selfish. Being trusting of people is also great, right? Being open and willing to share your life with other people, being willing to stop and talk to people who are clearly struggling, and not just running along with your own life because you have things to do. Amazing traits. All of these things are incredible. But even these amazing things, without boundaries, will become the thing that you start to hate about yourself. I can't tell you how many of my clients, when we start working together, I have everybody take a personality test, so I know what kind of personality they have, and the way that they will learn the most effective, and how I can teach them things during our sessions the easiest. When we start working together, I'll often tell them, so these are your strengths. These are the great things about you, who make you who you are. And a lot of times they'll say, like, I wish I wasn't an empath. I wish I didn't have that. I wish I had. I wish I was more assertive. I wish I had a stronger voice. So they start to not like the traits about themselves that actually make them who they are. So boundaries, I did a video on my YouTube channel, live, a few weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago now or something like that, where I talked about boundaries and what they actually look like. Because a lot of people, I think, have a bad idea about what boundaries are. Either they think it's some way to like control somebody else, or they just think that, like, as I say all of the time, You don't have a boundary, you have a suggestion. They think that boundaries are just suggestions because they don't put any consequences to their boundaries. So if their boundary is broken, there's literally nothing changes. And so they just go about their life. And so does the narcissist, which means that the narcissist will just keep walking all over your boundaries because you didn't put any consequences for what happens if they do that, right? So anyway, boundaries in this case boundaries are always for you. They're always for you first. They're not about other people. You need boundaries. Even if you were the last person on earth, you would still need to have boundaries for yourself. If you're the only person on earth, you would still need boundaries for yourself. Hey, if I want to live a long time, guess what I can't do? I can't just go eat all of the ice cream on earth every single day. I can't just keep doing that kind of stuff. These are boundaries that are for you. So boundaries have little to do with other people. Until you can learn how to master yourself, the boundaries should have the boundaries will have little consequence on your outside life. They're for your inner world first. And once you can control your inner world, your boundaries will come across in your outer world. And this is what I want you to learn, is that even generosity without boundaries is dangerous. You're leaving yourself vulnerable to people who will take advantage of that generosity. Same thing with ignorance. Honestly, I just couldn't imagine somebody would be that evil. Even something that's a positive thing. Wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you didn't, up until this point, have any interaction with toxic people. That's amazing. That's a great way to live. But even that, without boundaries and without knowing how to handle the unknown, leaves you vulnerable to being a victim of narcissistic supply. Every single part, being an empath, same thing. Absolutely. That's amazing. You're the world's healers. That's the reason that you're here. That's the reason you were created. You can feel everything that people can feel because you're meant to, when there's sadness, the reason that you can feel that is so that you can heal that and bring joy to that area, right? What amazing gift. But even that without boundaries, you get wrapped up into other people's emotions and problems. You allow people to suck the energy from you, and now you're feeling drained when you're out and about instead of setting up boundaries for yourself emotionally. I can feel that. I can feel somebody's pain without accepting it as my own, without taking on the role of carrying that burden emotionally, mentally, even physically. So all of these things need to have boundaries first. And when you are equipped at building boundaries for yourself with your strengths, with these assets of your personality, of who you are as an individual, the thing that makes you you, when you can do that, then they become your strength. Until then, the things that are the best things about you can still be used to manipulate you. I want to give you one more example before I end this video, which is something that a lot of people will comment, well, I just stopped dealing with people. Well, I just don't let people in anymore. I just stopped doing that. Okay, you're first of all, nobody is meant to not have community. Human beings in general are social, meaning they need a community. They are not, they don't work by themselves. They need to have community. It literally is a need. In newborn babies, we can tell when there's arrested development if that child isn't held, if the child never hears somebody's voice, if they don't get physical contact, interaction when they're a baby, their brain will actually stop developing. There's places of their brains that don't form. That's how important human contact is. And so even if you think, well, it's safer for me if I just cut off contact, and then I don't need to worry about getting wrapped up into somebody else's emotional problems or having somebody else take advantage of me or whatever. That's actually a form of abuse to yourself. You're actually choosing to abuse yourself by refusing to give yourself what you need. What you need is human contact. You need human interaction. And you're refusing to learn how to do that in an appropriate and healthy way for you and your life and your future. You're choosing to abuse yourself and say, I'm depriving myself. I will abuse myself now because somebody else abused me. It's such an unhealthy cycle that people get into, and it prevents them from living the life that they were created to live. Okay? And not only that, it's really a way that the narcissist wins. You know who's happy about you being isolated and you not living your life? The narcissist. That's who's happy about it. No one else is happy about that because you're not out there doing your purpose. You know that your purpose is to benefit other people. So for example, I could have chosen to not do YouTube videos or to not be a life coach, right? Do you know how many thousands of people, tens of thousands of people would never have seen my videos, and maybe one of my videos helps somebody recover, help somebody get their life in order, help somebody understand that there is a path forward, there is a way out of that abusive relationship, and not only are you going to get out, you're going to build the life that you were created to build. You aren't just getting out like barely living. You're going to thrive. Everybody who's not doing their purpose means that the rest of us aren't benefiting from what you would bring to the world by doing your purpose. And so it's never, nothing is ever done in a vacuum, right? There's always something else that's touched by something that's done or isn't done, by something that's said or isn't said. And so I hope the real thing that I wanted you to know, the number one thing I wanted you to know from doing this video, is that the things that the narcissist initially targeted you for, the traits about you that attracted the narcissist to you, are actually your greatest strengths. The narcissist will see anything beautiful and try to tear it down. The narcissist will see anything that's good and try to tear it down and try to make it ugly and try to make it ineffective. Which is why people who choose to isolate themselves after narcissistic abuse, instead of going through the recovery process, yes, it's hard. It's hard, and you have to face a lot of emotions, even things that you didn't know that you would have to be dealing with, like underlying issues of how the narcissist got there, why you didn't have boundaries, why you were allowing this type of behavior, can be bringing up things that you didn't even know were problems, right? Yes, so it's messy, and it can take a long time. It can take, it's an investment for sure. But doing that is always going to pan out for you way better than being isolated. That's exactly what the narcissist wants. They want you to stay isolated. They want nobody else to be able to receive your gift. And they want you to believe that it's safer in your own little corner of the world rather than interacting with other people the way that you were designed to be living. So I hope this video has helped you. I hope that that something in this video resonates with you, that it gives you hope that you can change, you can recover from what you've been through, you can repair and rebuild. And I actually would like us to kind of help one another. I wanted to do this video and kind of like share your experiences. So if you would just take a minute and in the comments of this video, tell me what lessons you've learned. Tell me what lessons you've learned from being involved with a narcissist. Again, whether that's your mom or your dad, your siblings, your boss, your friends, spouse, whatever it is. Tell me what lessons you've learned. Share your experiences with others, and let's help each other on this journey of recovery and of thriving after. And you guys, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel below and then turn on the little bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel.